So tell us about the show this year. This is the show you've been touring. the Edinburgh show.
When you do stuff like this, there's like some sort of a briefing conversation. And before we came out here, Rich just went, "Do me a favour, just keep talking because I've not done any new research on you."
Are you doing the show?
He's not even Googled me and read the AI overview.
Are you doing an Edinburgh show this year?
Are you doing your Edinburgh show? Are you doing your... I'm actually only up here to open for Oasis. That would be the worst booking in history. I am here doing something that can only be described as commercially lucrative but artistically bankrupt. So I don't know why I've had to go Oasis. I've been touring a show, so I'm sort of in a cycle where I do Edinburgh as a work in progress in the Monkey Barrel, and then I tour that show about the place, and then I come back and finish it for a week at the Gordon Aikman Theatre, or what I prefer to call the David O'Doherty Memorial Theatre, because it's a venue he's performed in, and I'm doing the slot right before Dave every day for the first 10 days, and now I'm stopping. But I am doing 2 more shows on the 16th and 17th of the Monkey Barrel, and that's to raise money for Jen Brister's charity. Jen Brister's doing amazing stuff, getting food to kids in Gaza. Extraordinary comedian, extraordinary person, and I'm doing the last 2 performances of that show at the Monkey Barrel and giving all of that money to charity. All of the money from the Assembly is going to Chara-me, okay? So I am still coining it in.
But you've been doing what I'm interested in is you did this show, is the same show you took to America, right?
Correct, yes.
And so when you were in America,
yes,
me and James, my tour manager, who's on the decks, thank you very much.
Homebrew Hingley, shout out.
Yeah.
With James Hingley, about 15 years ago, James Acaster decided to call him Homebrew, and he said, please don't do that. And we still call him Homebrew now. Homie B!
We were worried about you... How you would get on, whether you would be murdered, whether you'd be deported, or whether you might be sent to Guantanamo Bay, to be honest, or taken by ICE.
I have to say, I do, yes, there was a real couple of concerned months for the UK comedy industry. Like, I'm really, after I got back, I didn't realise how much it had occupied everyone's thoughts. Because when I got back, like, obviously friends of mine, but then there's also people like you who I don't see very often, but consider to be a friend, and certainly someone I'm friendly with. Then there was a layer of people that were just like, yeah, we were just, we sort of... One of my friends said, I assumed you'd be assassinated. So this is the show that I took to the States, and it was like, it was, I'm drawing from not a particularly broad audience in the United States, politically, and like the American audience, a lot of them are Taskmaster fans, because like Taskmaster's fucking huge in the States, because it just all goes on YouTube, and they're all absolutely obsessed with it. And then I sort of, that gets filtered through the fact that the Taskmaster audience in general is like pretty active. Like, they don't just like passively go and see something because they're like, oh, I saw you on Taskmaster and thought you were funny. They tend to be, no offense, fucking geeks. And they do sort of, they do their research. So the people that come are people who see you on Taskmaster, but then they will have like engaged with some other element of your work. And so it was like the audience that was coming, they're the angriest people in the world. They didn't vote for him. They live in the country under his yoke of terror, and like there were a lot of, there were some nights where we would do the show and they'd ask me if I wanted to do a meet and greet, and I said no. Like, I'll say hello to people on the way, but I'm not doing a structured meet and greet. That no one wants that. And there were a couple of nights where we would perform in like blue cities in red states, where my partner, talk about fucking nepo babies, my partner Amy Annette was opening for me. I wonder how she fucking slept her way to the top of that gig. And there were some nights where she would literally say, go out there, like go back out and stand in the foyer. And she was like, it's not about you. It's not about them getting to touch the hem of your garment. You just need to give these people another 40 minutes in each other's company. Like, because they all have to go back to their homes that they live in, where they're surrounded by people who think what Donald Trump is doing is actually very wonderful. Yeah. And they actually need to be in a place where, in like New York and LA, it's not so much of an issue. But when we were in like Atlanta or Tulsa, Amy was like, you just give them another half an hour in each other's company, because they sort of have to be reminded that each other exists, that there are actually also still people left in their countries that share the same view as them. And there are obviously fucking shitloads of them, you know, like this idea that like every American voted for Donald Trump, or that, you know, well, they voted for him so they get what they deserve is sort of nonsense, you know. I will say that I came back generally, like, it was sort of terrifying because when we arrived there, a week or so after I arrived, they grabbed Maud Khalil, you know, the Columbia student who'd been organising Palestine protests. And when they start just like grabbing people, then they just grabbed a girl in Boston and disappeared. You know, once you're into that phase of it, you feel that anything is sort of like that anything could happen to anyone at any time. And even though I went in there because everybody kept saying, "Are you worried?" I was like, "Of course I'm not fucking worried about." I'm pretty sure the US government has better things to think about than a British comedian selling between 150 and 300 tickets per night in metropolitan areas of the continental United States of America. Like I was literally like, there's no reason for them to be, you know, I'm not high profile enough for it to be a problem for them. But then when they start just grabbing random students, like, they don't give a fuck. Like they'll do anything to anybody. And so then there was another point where I had to go and do Vancouver. So I went up to the Pacific Northwest and I did Portland and Seattle, and then I crossed the border on train and went up to Vancouver, and then I had to fly from Vancouver back to Chicago to do the last couple of dates in the Midwest, and like no one slept. Like my parents, my partner's 95-year-old grandparents did not. Everyone was just fucking paranoid, waiting for me to text when I landed. And as it turned out, I had no problems because I was entering through like American customs in Canada is in Canada, so you clear American customs before you leave a Canadian airport. So the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to spend another couple of days in Vancouver. I'm going to go for dim sum with Helen Zaltzman tomorrow. That was genuinely my thought process. I wasn't particularly worried about it there, and it was absolutely fine. Like it wasn't a problem at all. I think sadly the issue is that I had an O1 visa, which is the visa that they print and put in your passport. So they can't really do anything to you because it's a hard copy. So you just show them the visa that has the information from their government, and they let you through. The people that I think they're fucking with are like poorer, more vulnerable people, because ultimately that O1 visa is the same visa that, like, you know, I have the same visa as like Florence Pugh or something. Like, so they don't really want to start fucking with that document because there's much more high profile people that use that document to access America. But the very fact that we're having this conversation is fucking bananas. Like, it's so mad that this is the kind of state of the world. But my main takeaway when I got back was there were a lot of people like on the ground. Like, I met people who are like trying to get a like healthcare bill passed in the New York State Senate to guarantee free healthcare. I met people who had like a guy who had come to a gig, had taken a break from meetings with union organisers to talk about potential strike action to come and see me do my stupid fucking comedy. And my main takeaway from the whole thing was there are a lot of people in the States really fighting hard. Because the Democratic Party seems so inert. I think sometimes the frightening thing feels like, there's no resistance to this, but internally there are a lot of people working really, really hard to push back against a lot of the stuff that's happening. And I sort of found it like quietly inspirational. Like, America will always be two countries. It will always be a country based on a genocide of an indigenous population and a genocide of the slaves that built the country. But it will also always be the country of Martin Luther King going down to Alabama. It's being assassinated by a racist because he had gone to Alabama as part of a solidarity strike with sewage workers down there, and he was urged to not go, and he still went. And the night before he was killed, he gave this kind of very famous speech where he talked about the fact that he understood that he would never be old, and he said, you know, I may not make it to. He quoted Moses saying, "I may not make it over the mountain, but we as a people will reach the promised land." And you're like, this is still a country of slave owners and killers of the flower moon, but it's also a country of Martin Luther King and James Baldwin, and it has always been those two things. And like, I feel watching the news, you see more of the former, but actually being there, you saw a lot more of the latter.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it sort of feels, I mean, you know,
I can do it all. I can do it all. That's the thing about me. That's why I'm a good podcast booking. I can do it all. Just 3 minutes ago, we were talking about a streak of piss going down the front of Richard Herring's jeans. And on a sixpence, I swivel like Bergkamp in his prime. That was a football reference and it was accurate.
It feels like it could be, the whole thing of this feels it could be like the death throes of something, but it equally feels like it could be the beginning of something much, much more terrible. I mean, historically, very right-wing fascist politicians haven't done very well in the long run.
No,
but in the short term,
quite badly for them.
In the short term, it goes quite well for them, and then
in the MASH
it goes
report,
very
when the
badly.
MASH report, the TV show that I used to do, was on air, one of the things that we would talk about in the writers' room was dictators generally it either ends for them bed or butt. Yeah. They either die in bed or they die with a load of stuff put in their butts. And you always try to work out, will it be bed or butt for these people? Stalin, bed. Gaddafi, so much up the butt. Oh my God. Hitler was a self-butt because he saw the writing on the wall. Mussolini, you've got to imagine that guy died with a bunch of stuff in his hiney. Oh my God. They must have put a sink up there.
Are we talking metaphorically, or do you think
literally? I think they crammed piping up Mussolini's ass.
Made him much more hard to lynch once he was that heavy. But but unfortunately, it feels like World War II. There was a lot of bad things about World War II.
Yeah.
Nish, don't know if you know your history. But what came out of World War II was the positivity and the NHS and all sorts of things.
Consensus,
And so something terrible happens and then it swings back. But obviously it'd be nice to have the swing back without.
Exactly. It would be nice to have. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like we're seeing a sort of, as we record in the middle of August, we are seeing some element of sanity reach our Gaza policy. Not all. It's still fucking stupid, and they've still arrested a bunch of fucking 80-year-olds yesterday for supporting Palestine Action, which is an insane decision. But the problem is, even if we reach a sane position on what our policy should be towards Gaza, so many people will have died. It was so many people will have died, and we keep doing this. We keep letting the worst happen before we start scrambling around looking for some common sense. And you would hope. And also, I really resent this. My whole life, all I learned was World War II. World War II. World War II. Obviously, the real reason we learned that is it was the first time in history we were the good guys. But we just kept World War II, World War II, World War. Never forget World War II. Never forget World War II. And I tell you what, it has had an impact on me. I don't like Nazis. It has really left an impact. They say education counts for nothing. I do not like Nazis. I don't like their vibe. I don't like their tone. I don't like their clothes. I don't like Nazis. I'm 39 years old and I don't like Nazis. And now I'm 39 years old and I see our fucking gutless cunt of a prime minister standing there going, it has become necessary to do a trade deal with the Nazis. And you're like, oh, fuck you, man. Why did you bother teaching me all of this shit? Why did you fill my head with this Nazism is bad if you were then just going to turn around and go, well, the practical realities are, just fucking fuck off.